Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us here on the Daily Racing Form YouTube. I'm Gino Buccola alongside Mike Beer with producer Bobby, getting you all ready for a preview of the Grade 3 Transylvania. This is going to go as race number 8 on opening day Friday at Keeneland. As we move on out and take a look at the field, just want to mention, Mike, that the forecast not looking great as we sit here on Tuesday. So we'll keep our fingers crossed because this is such a Keeneland race, right? Just a big field on the turf. Lots of options you can make here. I think you have a big price on top. I'm taking a little bit of a swing on top as well. But I think from a talking standpoint, we want to start with Mibago because he's been in awesome form right now. He's coming off of a really fast race where he earned an 86 buyer speed figure. He's won 3 consecutive stakes in a row, one on synthetic, the other 2 on turf. But he's drawn to the outside in here in a big field in a race where it looks like there's going to be some other speed.
Yeah, no, I agree with all that stuff. This is, first of all, you're really fingers crossed that this race finds a way to stay on the turf because this is a really, really good race. And it feels like a lot of different horses can win. But you're right, Mibago, he's got a lot going for him here. Maybe the outside post position works against him. He's really, really fast, though.
Yeah.
And ever since they started using his speed 3 starts in a row, he's looked really, really good.
Now let's take a look at the Timeform US pace projector. They have Golden Afternoon and Clock Tower up front, keeping Mibago company. And I think that's what makes it a little difficult. I mean, we could even see a horse like Chasing Liberty is not as fast as them, but with the inside position, he coming off of a wide trip. I could see Saez wanting to kind of hold that and stay close down there. Definitely Golden Afternoon in the mix. So yeah, I think they'll be going honest. Even Scipio, Pratt's been using the tactical speed of that horse a little more recently, and it's worked out in positive fashion. So I wouldn't be shocked to see a lot of these horses trying to stay close in here. And that's when you get all that jockeying for position and 1 or 2 horses gets hooked wide or shuffled back. So big field should be, I think, an honest pace.
Yeah, I agree with that. It almost has to be honest with the 2. And listen, it feels like the 2 main speeds, and I'm not trying to discount Golden Afternoon at all here because he does have speed, but he's not as fast, in my opinion, as the 10 or the 11. So I just feel like they're drawn outside. It feels like their options are limited here, and they just got to come out running to try to get forward, and that could really heat this pace up. Your other point is very well taken too, Gino. This is a big field, and there could be a lot of horses going for position into that first turn. Trips are going to be super important in this race.
This is the Grade 3 Transylvania, 600,000 up for grabs. Let's meet the field here, starting with Chasing Liberty. Coming into this race in pretty good form. He was 3rd in the Black Gold, but we'll say the top 3 from that last race are all back. And he had to go wide all the way around in a small field. Not the best of trips. I mean, when you kind of flip-flop with Tom's Magic saved all the ground inside, got a great opening and pushed through. So I'm just playing the trips. Chasing Liberty is probably the horse who you look at and think there may be a little value there. This is just a really tough race in here. I mean, I think he'll save ground. And, if he gets a good enough trip, he could be right there with them. But a lot of options to go with.
I'm going to agree with all that stuff. I mean, he did, sort of take that 3 wide trip last time while they were on the track. And it was interesting too, because this is a horse who had shown that he had enough speed to be more forward and be more aggressive if they wanted to. And they just didn't want to last time for whatever reason. They grabbed him and sort of sat 3 wide. That being said, he had dead aim on that race from the top of the stretch. And he just wasn't quite good enough, but he still ran fine in there, Gino. I feel like there's a good trip coming for him. Yeah. And I do think he's a horse you don't just want to totally overlook in here. I also feel like this is a really, really tough race. And he was one of the horses I wanted to wait and see what kind of price he was going to be.
Yeah, 3rd start of the form cycle. If he gets a trip, saves ground, maybe he could be in the mix. Reagan's Wit has shown some ability in the last couple starts, Mike. I like that coming off of that really impressive maiden breaking score. He came right back with basically the same race on the Buyers scale, right? It was in the Columbia, and it was a good effort. I believe we have the replay here. He was getting a nice setup. He actually looked like he was a winner most of this race, kind of loomed up into it. But the horse who defeated him and the horse who went on, Zulu Kingdom, that's a nice horse. And I just love what Reagan's Wit did, where he kind of made multiple moves too. He took a shot at him early, and then it looked like he was done right about here. And you can see him kind of late coming back at him again. So I do think this is a horse who's moving in the right direction. Now he's going to go 3rd start of the form cycle. Like, I just have a lot of positive things to say about Reagan's Wit.
I agree. He was super impressive when he broke his maiden off the layoff there back in January. This is a huge run from off the pace in there to win it. He had to keep a little closer last time. You saw on the replay too, Gino. You sort of mentioned one move and then a second move in there, and you can see. And he's done this twice now. He's done in each of his last two starts where he made the first run at Zulu Kingdom, and then he just sort of went to his wrong lead at about the 8th pole, and then sort of lost a little ground there. Then he switched his lead back again at the 16th pole, and he was coming again at the end. So it still feels like he's sort of figuring this racing game out, but the talent is there. He can rally from off the pace if things get heated up in front of him in here. This is a dangerous horse, but it kind of feels like he's going to take a lot of money in here, and I'm not sure how low I'd be willing to go on him.
Golden Afternoon was second in the grade 2 Bourbon right here at Keeneland, going a mile and a 16th back in October. And he got the lead in his most recent start in the Black Gold. He finished second behind Tom's Magic. Again, he's not far off like the top contenders in here. I'm just a little worried, as you were pointing out, he's a speed horse who's not quite as fast as the other speed horses. Does he get caught up in chase mode? But so many of these horses aren't far off winning a race like this and fit. Mike, what do you think about Golden Afternoon?
Yeah, I think we will just see. I actually think he's pretty good, but we'll see how he deals with what is supposed to be a much faster pace than I think he's had to deal with, at any other race of his career so far. Gino, I mean, the Black Gold last time, they just didn't really make him go fast. He made the lead sort of in hand, and they kind of let him dictate things until the stretch, and that's when they really started racing. He ran fine in there, but he was never holding on at the end. He's sort of drifting out too at the end, which I didn't love to see. I mean, I just felt like he was one of the horses in there who had to really, really up his game.
Maui Strong was a runner-up last time out, and in his last two starts, he's been a little unlucky chasing horses who were able to dictate things on the front end. He tried to come at Charlie's to blame last time out, and early in the stretch, he really did have every opportunity. Things opened up for him. Yeah. He had a chance to come and get him, just couldn't get the Charlie's blame. But what I liked about that effort from him, he did show a little more tactical speed, so maybe as he's growing up, he's got a little more versatility they can add to his repertoire here. Mike, what do you think about Maui Strong?
Yeah, I agree with your take on him there. It feels like he's just getting better with every single start. He ran really well last time. Listen, Charlie's to blame's a nice horse too, and he just sort of had control of that pace. And this horse really took a late run at him there. I don't care about the Dania Beach two back. To me, it really looked like he hated that synthetic surface, but he was still running at the end of that race too. Just one of those horses. Seems like he's really getting better with each and every start. He might actually be a fair price in this race once again, and I would use this horse.
Sabretooth was a multiple graded stakes placed runner as a maiden, finally put it all together last out at the fairgrounds. They call that the light bulb angle, Mike, when the horse is knocking on the door for a while, puts it together. Do you think he can come right back and get another win after taking 9 starts to break his maiden?
Yeah, it's a tough call because I know he got the job done finally last time in his first start off a trainer change to Brittany Russell, who obviously wins at a high percentage, but it's not like he improved on figures. I mean, he just sort of ran the same race that he'd been running out in California. It just happened to be good enough at fairgrounds to get the job done. Listen, he had really held his own, actually, even though it took him forever to break his maiden. They ran him in a bunch of stakes races, and he held his own in all of those stakes races. So I do think he's talented enough to go with these horses. We'll see what kind of trip he gets.
Up next is the number 6 Versus. I think he's a little interesting in here, Mike. You have horses in this race who come out of stakes races or maybe a little flashier speed figures or maybe bigger name barns. So I could see him sort of flying under the radar a little bit. Comes off of an effort where he was 7th. He was about 5 lengths off, and he had to make a wide move, which generally doesn't work all that well on the turf. And I thought he kept going, even in the 5 path. Like that effort, 2 starts back, he was behind a horse named Forge Steel, who was basically a gate to wire winner in that race. And I think he could be a horse who I see at like 10, 12 to 1-ish that people aren't really paying attention to. And I think he may run well in here. What do you think about Versus?
Yeah, I thought he had a chance to get totally overlooked in this race. We'll see how they wind up betting it. I'll say this about him. I like all of his races. I actually think he's pretty talented. I think he's run well in every one of his starts. I don't think I liked his win last time enough to want to bet him back against this field. There are some really, really good horses in here. We'll see. Again, I would wait and see where he settles as far as price goes, because he certainly fits on figures. I don't know if 10 to 1 is the right number for me, Gino. I'd want more than that.
Test score, next one up. He's run lots of similar races from last year when he was 2. It just hasn't really progressed all that much, but that doesn't mean he's far away from taking a step forward and beating a group like this. He comes out of the Kitten's Joy. He was 3rd. He was behind Maui Strong. 2 starts back. He's a neck behind Chasing Liberty. It's not like his races are bad. You can go through each one of them individually. It just feels like he's going to have to get a little bit faster in a pretty tough competitive group.
Yeah, listen, we'll see if there's a breakthrough coming for this horse. We were talking about trips earlier. Maybe trips are more important to test score than they are to anybody else. We'll see if he can finally get one. When he broke his maiden on this turf course last year, I mean, he overcame a ton of trouble in that race. It's the kind of trouble that gets horses beat all the time. And he overcame it with a huge finish to win. I thought he was, Chasing Liberty won the Thoroughbred Aftercare on Breeders' Cup weekend last November, and Chasing Liberty ran well in that race, Gino. But Tescore had a real trip in that race. I thought there were a couple of other horses. Bago was in that race. He had trouble in that race as well. So I just feel like Tescore ran better than it looks in that race. And then when you're talking about the Kitten's Joy, I mean, it took him a while to accelerate in there, which I didn't love. But man, was he running at the end of that race behind? Basically, it's just a race that was dominated up close, and that's obviously not run to suit a horse like Tescore. I think he's good. I think he's way better than he looks on paper, and I think if he gets the right trip in here, he could easily beat this field.
Scipio is another one who was multiple graded stakes placed as a maiden, put it all together, 2 starts back, and then came right back and won the Baffle. And in those 2 races, he just showed that he could get involved a little bit more early on. Pratt put him in the race more early, Mike, and that resulted in back-to-back victories. So he ships out west, or he ships from the west out to Keeneland. I always have trouble when horses come out like this, right? From the West Coast where they maybe face softer company, and then they come into a really tough race like this at Keeneland. But certainly with a guy like Flavian Pratt aboard, like he's probably going to put you in a good spot and give you a good run for your money.
Yeah, it has sort of been a theme for a long time, hasn't it? That the turf horses out west just aren't quite as good as the turf horses back east. But listen, I like every one of Scipio's races. I was talking about that Thoroughbred Aftercare before the Chasing Liberty one. This is another horse who had basically an impossible trip in there, and he was flying up the inside way too late. He comes back, he's in the mill, the grade 3 at Del Mar, where Clock Tower just absolutely strolls on the lead. They're going as slow as you can possibly go. This horse had no chance trying to close from last. And he's 2 for 2 since then, which, as you pointed out, Gino, with just showing way more tactical speed in his races, that's going to serve this horse well going forward.
And Tom's Magic got a great trip last time out. And it doesn't always work this way, Mike, but when a horse gets a great ground-saving trip on the inside, and then they're drawn a little more to the outside, I just get trepidatious about playing them the next time because I'm worried about the trip. Is he going to be able to get the same exact trip that he got last time out? Doesn't mean he can't win with a different trip, but everything was so perfect for him, saved all the ground. Some of his rivals had to go a little bit wide. As you pointed out, the pace setter moved off the rail a little bit, and he just got a dream run through.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it doesn't mean he's not a good horse, and he's very lightly raced. There certainly could be another forward move coming for him. He's coming out of a win where he just sort of had everything go his way. And listen, he finished ahead of 2 of the same horses he's going to be facing here, and I'm not sure that he's the horse that I would want out of the race. I'd probably want the other 2.
And he's going to face a field twice as big as last time out. Small field. He was able to move easily. It just won't likely be that simple for him against a group like this. Clock Tower is a really important horse in this race, Mike, because he's a major pace factor. He's a grade 3 winner. He just seems pretty one-dimensional and like he wants to go. Right next door, we've seen Bago sit a little bit earlier in his career, but both the 10 and the 11 drawn right next door to each other. They seem like the 2 fastest. They seem like both of their best chances to win is if they're right up close to the lead.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see how they decide to play it here with Clock Tower, who, he does have a lot of speed. I was talking about that DeMille the last time he was on turf when he won that race, but man, they just sort of handed that race to him, letting him go really slow on the lead. But his prior 2 turf races were both, I thought, really, really good. I'm not surprised that Ward gave him another shot on dirt last time because for whatever reason, I mean, he's got a dirt pedigree, but for whatever reason, he's not as good on that surface as he is on the grass. I still remember his turf debut. I know it was Kentucky Downs, and you want to tread lightly with horses that either look good or bad on that turf course. I thought this horse looked really good breaking his maiden. He was super impressive that day.
One of the fun things about being a dad, you get to see your kid go through different stages. Right now, my son's in a Back to the Future stage, so I get to hear "Save the Clock Tower" all the time. He's watching those movies over and over again. Me Boggo right next door, Mike, really, really fast, and we have a replay of the Colonel Liam. This was a monster effort where, I mean, he set fractions. He went 45:53 to the half mile. He just ran them right off their feet. He kept going here. This was his third in a row, and it's kind of fun when you see horses and the connections figure it out. Like, this horse is really good when they just use this speed and they run horses off their feet. Like, a lot of horses can't keep up with him.
Yeah, it's 100% true. I mean, my first inclination too with horses like him is just to sort of, knock him a little bit because he just keeps getting loose on the lead and winning. And, you always wonder what's going to happen when they face some real pressure up front. That could certainly happen here. I don't know. But man, it's not like he's just going to the front and backing down numbers. I mean, he just powers along on the lead. He's got everybody chasing him around the final turn. And then he doesn't stop through the stretch. He just keeps going. This horse is razor sharp right now. In a lot of ways, he's the horse to beat, but, make no mistake about it. This is the toughest tested day for him.
And a positive for him too, he's not one of those horses who comes in from Gulfstream with just like the Gulfstream wins on that turf course where he's kind of been running over there. He's won up at Woodbine. He broke his maiden on the dirt, actually at Colonial. He's shown some serious ability, different turf courses. You were even pointing out at Del Mar, like some legit trouble that day. And we round out the field with Hammerhead. I mean, Mike, he's another horse in here who, you look at the form initially, there just aren't very many bad races to go through. Like, a lot of the form makes sense overall. He's got a tough draw in here, but he wasn't far behind Me Boggo last time out. And he was in front of Maui Strong, who we kind of see as a player. Like, this is a horse who I could absolutely see people dismissing. You like this horse a little bit in here.
Yeah, the draw stinks. We'll start off with that. It's just too bad that he got hung out there. So we'll see what kind of trip he can work out. But this is a horse who might look overmatched on paper. And I feel like if you go back and sort of take a closer look at his races, you start to get the idea that maybe he's not overmatched. I mean, this horse, he's run really well in every one of his races. The maiden win up at Woodbine last November included. I mean, that was a huge move around the turn in there, just swept that field up and kept going. And he's, hasn't been able to get a race to go on turf since then. Got rained off last time, but I still thought he ran well, was getting to Me Boggo late in that race, and the race two back where they just crawled in front of him. He had absolutely no chance in there on a slow pace. I just think he's way better than he looks on paper, Gino, and he just feels like a horse who could just get totally dismissed in the wagering here.
Michael, we'll keep our fingers crossed. We'll do the opposite of the rain dance and hope that this one stays on the turf, because as we move to selections in here, what I love about races like this as a gambler, I could find 6 or 7 horses in here that I would be okay with playing at certain prices of like 8, 10, 15 to 1. That's what I want to find. I might be dead wrong about my opinion, but there are some races where I'm not going to find opportunities like I find in this race. And I hope we get a chance to at least take a swing.
I'm with you on that. Yeah, you're going to be wrong more than you're right, but that's why you want to make sure you get paid when you're right. This is the kind of race where it feels like you can take a couple of swings. I want to try Hammerhead in here. I hate that he has post 12, but I do think you're going to get every bit of that 20 to 1 on the morning line, and I'm just going to take a shot with him. Test Score was sort of the other horse for me. I'm a big fan, Gino. I know he needs a trip, but he's another horse who I think fits really, really well in here and might not get the respect he deserves.
Lots of fun options. We both have double-digit price horses on top. Whoever you play, however you play them in the Transylvania, we wish you the best of luck.